Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at our next installment in our match analysis series where we take a look at your gameplay and tell you everything that you did good and everything that you did wrong. For this replay we have the Iron Within playing in the Lo Yang, the Tier 8 Premium Pan-Asian Destroyer, and he's playing by himself, and it's some domination here on the map Land of Fire. So, when the Iron Within sent this replay submission in to me, he did mention that, quote, "I'm honestly not a good player, not sure if this is good enough to get a feature, but please check it out anyway, and feel free to critique me all you want since I'm not all that great with destroyers." Now, I did reach out to him, and I asked him if I could use this replay for the match analysis series, because while the result is really good, there are a lot of mistakes, at least positioning-wise, that are made in this. And, again, these match analysis replays, these, in-depth looks at your gameplay, they're not meant to be scathing. I'm going to point out everything great that you did, Iron. But there's a lot of critiquing that I like to do in these replays because, as someone who's really good at the game, and as somebody who enjoys interacting with the community, I think that it's a two-way street with this. I provide as good of advice and tips as I can, and you get to enjoy watching our content, and then hopefully this will help you, improve with your destroyer play. So, with that being the case, we're going to watch a pretty good replay at the end of the day. The result is still going to be fantastic. Don't get me wrong here. Now, one interesting thing that he also mentioned to me is that he decides to use the short-range torpedoes on the Lo Yang. Now, of course, the normal torpedoes, as he's about ready to get into the B-cap, they have a speed of 55 knots, they have a range of 9.2 kilometers, but unfortunately they only do over 11,000 damage. They are not the normal Benson torpedoes that hit for over 16,000 a pop. So the long-range torpedoes on the Lo Yang are kind of similar to the Sims long-range torpedoes. They still do a little bit more damage than the Sims, but those 9.2 kilometer range, it's pretty good for Tier 8, but it's just the speed that really kills it. 55 knots is really, really bad, to be honest with you. Now, the torpedoes that are the short range on the Lo Yang, he's got 26 seconds left here on the B-cap. He does use his first smoke screen of the game to get away from those enemy fighters that are overhead, so he should be able to get this cap not too much of a problem. But the short-range torpedoes, they do take a little longer to reload, 122 seconds vice 109. However, they deal much more damage, 16,633. That is the normal damage that you do on the 9.2 kilometer range torpedoes that you have on the Benson. However, the speed goes from 55 to a very blistering 68 knots, but the torpedo range goes down from 9.2 kilometers to 6.7. So these torpedoes don't have very much range, but they get to the target a lot faster and they hit a lot harder. And why that's a good thing is that when you get into close range combat, which the Lo Yang is extremely good at, they're much more potent. And because you have 10 of these torpedoes, they're extremely deadly and it creates a giant wall. Now you can see there I circled that smoke screen that just appeared behind him, and I'm moving the camera over here. You can see on the minimap his hydroacoustic has a range of 5.4 kilometers, which is honestly really nice. And as I move the I move the free cam over, you can see that the center of this smoke screen is within the range of his hydroacoustic. But he hasn't used his hydro yet. Now you can notice he only has 3 hydro pops, so that does mean he does not have superintendent on this guy. I'm not sure what his captain's build is or how many points that he has. But he's backing up right now, and he's completely oblivious to that smoke screen that is just off his starboard side. And he does take a gander over there, and he looks at it very briefly, but I don't really think he realizes what is in there. Now, there is one enemy destroyer that has been killed already, the Lo Yang, so there's only 2 left, a Z-23 and a CN Yang. So right now, his hydroacoustic would be able to spot that guy. And he also backs up out of his smoke screen while there's enemy fighters about. He does get undetected very briefly, but any second now he's going to get spotted once again. And when he does, he also decides to open fire here. Yep, there we go. The planes spot him. And he's now opening up fire on the enemy Bismarck. He still is neglecting to use his hydroacoustic. Now, I understand when you only have 3 of them, you want to use them in the right situations, or the most prudent situations, I should say. But right now, I'm not 100% sure why he's not using his hydroacoustic. You saw right there, shells that just came out of that smoke screen that are off to his right, and he is now certainly well within the range of that enemy CN Yang in that smoke screen, and I just don't know why you're not using the hydroacoustic right here, buddy. I really do not understand. Now, he does decide to drop 1 set of torpedoes right there at the enemy Z-23, and then there we go. The CN Yang appears at 4.2 kilometers. he continues to back up in the open for some reason. While he is detected, you can see there's a Colorado and the Chapayev, that enemy Tier 8 Soviet light cruiser with the radar, that are getting some shots at him as well. He still has a decent chunk of hit points to work with, but he's still backing up in the open. He doesn't have his hydroacoustic going. His smoke screen isn't going to come back for another 20 seconds, so he will be able to get shot at by anybody that is able to get a decent shot at him. However, the Z-23 bumbles right into one of his torpedoes, and then the Xian Yang mumbles into one of the others, and he picks up a very quick Dev Strike and double strike on those 2 enemy destroyers, taking care of the other 2 on the enemy team. So that's a very good thing, but he's still backing up in the middle. Dude, I'm not going to lie, I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. Why you're not trying to get out of dodge. You can see he is finally starting to move forward here, but the situational awareness right now is just very, very poor, to put it lightly. And again, I'm not trying to be rude here, man. I'm really not, but I just don't get it. There's a Chapayev, there's a Colorado, there's a Scharnhorst that are coming in, and, you know, he hasn't even paid any attention to it. He's not even looking over in that direction. He is moving over to the east now, to the sea cap, which, you know, it's a good thing, and he's trying to put this island, it appears, in between him. But right now I'm in the free cam, and I'm looking over at those ships. This is not him looking at the enemy ships. And the Chapayev is well within 10 kilometers. I mean, that is point-blank range, because that thing has the rail guns, and obviously it has the really potent radar of 11.7 kilometer of range and 20-second duration. So at this point, I have no idea why the Chappie isn't using his radar. This is, I really don't know. I really don't know. I tried when I was, you know, when I was recording this replay, first off, and I was just, you know, I guess talking to myself, going through what I was going to hit on at various points of the replay. I have no idea. Now, he is moving again into the sea cap, so he is going to help his team get it, which is very nice. And right now, if he were to die, this would still be a pretty decent result. 1 solo base cap and killing off 2 enemy DDs is actually a pretty good result right now. The damage is low, but this would still be a pretty good top of the leaderboard result for him. Now, the score is 391 to 238, and unfortunately, the Graf does manage to take care of the King George V. He is opening fire on the enemy Alabama, that premium Tier 8 American battleship. However, he is slowing down, and he will be using his next smokescreen here really shortly. And there we go. Smokescreen goes out, which is very nice. He only has got 10 seconds left until he manages to get this base secured for his team, which is really nice. He's getting some more good shots right into the superstructure. Now, he is aiming at the right part of the Alabama. You do need to hit battleships in the superstructure, but he's still well within the range of that Chapayev's radar, and he also decides not to shoot back because the American and, you know, the Pan-Asian destroyers have the great turret traverse. I would have tried to switch fire to the targets that were in B and get and farm some base defense ribbons to keep them from capturing it, but that's just something very minor, to be honest with you. Still getting some good shots on the Alabama. I believe he set 1 fire on that guy, make that 2. 1 on the stern and 1 on the superstructure, which is actually really nice. And you'll notice throughout the course of this replay that his fire RNG shooting at other ships is actually pretty good. And then one of the babies comes flying in. Classic. Just plowing right through the smoke screen, just pushing him out of his concealment, which... oh, man, that never gets old. You can see he leaves a very scathing message in chat, but... oh boy, you know, that will never change. As long as this game exists, there's always going to be those dudes that just have no situational awareness whatsoever, those babies, and they just come flying into your smoke screen because obviously it's theirs and that you're not using it and it's not important for you, but yeah, whatever. At this point, the game is still the flip of a coin, 352 to 326. The enemy team has 6 ships, and his team has 6 ships, but since he's the last destroyer alive, his team still has the inherent advantage. Unfortunately, some torpedoes come in, probably surprising the heck out of him. He doesn't have his hydroacoustic running, and he still has neglected to use any of them so far. And, like I said, that one scenario right at the beginning, that would have been a perfect opportunity for you to use your hydroacoustic. I just don't know how that escaped him, but I digress. Using the hydroacoustic in good situations, especially in that kind of predicament where those enemy destroyers were really close, yeah, that's all I got really. I'm sorry that I'm struggling to find words for it, but I just don't see how that could have escaped you, man. I really don't. Lining up some torpedoes here, however, I'm going to move on from that. Pardon me for hitting on that for too long. He's launching some torpedoes here at the enemy Colorado, who's 4.3 kilometers away. Now, that Colorado decides to slow down for some reason, and this is something that will drive any destroyer player mad. You know, you got a battleship or any ship for that matter that's really close, and you're trying to drop some torpedoes at point-blank range. Now, he is switching around between all these torpedoes quite a bit. This is not me, so pardon for the headache, if that is a headache right there. But one does manage to slam home right into the very bow of the Colorado. So at the very least, he does manage to get a flood, and he is going to force that guy to use his repair, which is very good. Now, at this point, he's only 5.1 kilometers away, but he still would be able to shoot over the crest of that island right there. So there's no reason for him to move forward right now, but it also appears with 1 second left on the smoke screen, he's going to move out a little bit and use his next smoke screen. There we go. The last one is out. I think he could have just stayed right behind that island and still shot over. I don't think he had to blow a smokescreen because of it. He does finally use his first hydroacoustic of the game, but the hydroacoustic range is, well, 5.4 kilometers, which is really nice. This Colorado is at 5.2, and once he moves just a little further away, he is going to go out of his hydroacoustic. So I think that was a waste of a smokescreen, and I also think that was a waste of a hydroacoustic. Now, the Colorado is still spotted due to the fact that he just shot his guns, and I would presume the Richelieu or maybe the New Orleans is spotting him, but I don't really agree with that smokescreen usage. I don't really agree with that hydroacoustic usage. Yes, the Graf Spee is somewhat close and could be using his torpedoes. However, this is one situation where he makes the very, very prudent play. He switched to armor piercing on this broadside German cruiser, and look at that, 3,400 damage with one Citadel, and then his next salvo manages to do 2772. And that's something that a lot of people forget about. Destroyers at close range, i.e. 7 to 6 kilometers and under, need to use the armor piercing shot on a broadside, whether it's a battleship or whether it's a cruiser. Your armor piercing shells are able to punch through the belt armor at those kind of ranges, and you can stack up some pretty significant damage, and right there, he did manage to get the Citadel, which is really nice. So a very nice ammunition switch right there. I will say so myself. And then the Bismarck on his team managed to take care of the Graf Spee. So very nice right there. And like I said, the fire RNG in this game is a bit ridiculous. He's already picked up his 5th fire of the game. He's got the rear of the superstructure of the Colorado on fire. And as this next salvo falls in, he should light the bow on fire. There we go, with one shell that breaks. So some very, very awesome fire RNG right there, I must say so. This is something that you cannot count on in your Pan-Asian and American destroyers, but Iron here is taking advantage of it, which is really nice. And because the Colorado had to use his repair for the flood that he caused about a minute and a half ago, he is burning in 2 places and giving him up over 96,000 points of damage and counting, which is some very awesome stuff. So at this point, even though it's still a 4 versus 4, his team really should be able to take care of business. They have the B cap and the C cap. You can see the Scharnhorst has managed to find the friendly aircraft carrier, which is a bit unfortunate, but this game has been pretty weird, hasn't it? There's been a lot of crazy stuff that has gone on in this one. His next salvo of high explosive all breaks along the side, and the next salvo right there, only one armor piercing shell managed to get above the island, and it hit right into the turret. And then the Richelieu's fires managed to take care of business on that Tier 7 American battleship. So with that threat neutralized, there's only 3 ships left. The carrier, the Alabama. Unfortunately, the Scharnhorst with the secondaries does manage to take out his friendly carrier, but at this point, he's now going to go after the Alabama. There's no reason for him to go back to the caps because the Richelieu is turning 2 and is going to go deal with the Scharnhorst. The Bismarck is also moving up to help kill the Alabama. So once this Bama gets taken care of, then this game really should be in the bag. Now you can see that there are enemy planes that are off to his west, and he does turn to the left here. So while he's not being detected by the planes right now, he's now turning back into the path of those. And one of them is a spot plane that was managed to get launched right before one of those ships kicked the bucket. So now he is only a couple kilometers away from the spot plane, and that Alabama is about ready to be reloaded. So he has to think that this guy is going to shoot at him, and that's exactly what happens. But he manages to turn right back to starboard and dodges the entire salvo. So a very nice dodge right there. He knew that that Alabama was getting ready to shoot, and with that being the case, he managed to dodge the whole salvo. So a very nice job right there, I will say, Iron, of dodging that 16-inch salvo. And now he's just going to hopefully be able to get the kill here before this Alabama's reload is up yet again. You can see he is aiming very high and trying to hit into the superstructure, and that's why he has gotten a lot more penetrations. Make it that 8 out of 14 shells, and then the next salvo that goes in manages to take care of business. So 10 penetrations out of the 16 shells, aiming up high, very nice stuff. He picks up his 3rd kill of the game and manages to crack 100,000 points of damage, which is some very nice stuff. He is still detected by all these planes that are floating around, but at this point that Scharnhorst obviously is well a ways, so he doesn't have to worry about getting shot at from anybody else. And now he is heading due west to try and go find the enemy aircraft carrier. Now in this situation, there's 5 minutes and 28 seconds left in the game. I don't blame him for doing so. The caps are going to be A-okay, and his team has a very comfortable lead, so yeah, this isn't a bad play at all. Trying to go find a little bit more damage to farm, maybe get another kill. This is something that I would absolutely do, and it seems that Iron has the memo down as well. So you can see the friendly Bismarck is turning 2 and is now going to, I guess, group up with the Richelieu, and I'm not 100% sure why. I would have kept heading to the west if I were him as well. But you can see that the planes are flying over towards Bravo 4, Bravo 3, so that obviously tells him that the carrier is pretty close by, and any second now he will get the spot on the Ryuho. And the poor Ryuho, stuck in a Tier 8 game with an air superiority build. Yeah, that's not a lot of fun now, is it? So, yeah. But anyway, the really big thing that I got to say, again, is just that hydroacoustic usage. I really think that you should have taken a lot more advantage of it. I mean, letting those enemy destroyers, or at least the Xian Yang anyway, creep up on you like that, and you just didn't notice it. Really, the only thing I can say is you got to look around a little bit more, man. It's very easy to get so caught up in, you know, you got your binocular view going and you're shooting at something or you're paying attention to something else. It's very easy to lose focus and just lose track of stuff like that. But making a push into the B cap, that deep into the B cap, in the middle of the map at the beginning of the game, you got to think that there's going to be enemy destroyers about. He does pick up the Confederate, excuse me, which is really nice. We're going to go to a little cinematic right here. I'm glad that they fixed the replays so that you can actually hit Control-G and turn off the HUD and get these nice little shots. But anyway, yeah, when you go into a central position like that, you got to think that those enemy destroyers are going to be about. And using the hydroacoustic is very, very important. And that's why this thing is so powerful, because it has hydroacoustic, and it's better hydro than the Z23. It's better hydro than the Z46. You actually have the best hydro on any DD, sans the Z52 in the tier 8 through 10 matchmaking bracket. So you got to take advantage of that stuff, man. And I think that was, at least, if it was a good enemy destroyer player, I think that they could have really made you pay for it. I also am I'm not sure why the enemy Chapayev and his friends were not trying to actively hunt you down. That's just unexplainable to me. I have no idea. And I don't know, maybe that's just a symptom of weekend play. I don't know exactly when you played this replay, what day it was, but I digress. I have no idea how he wasn't able to make you punish for it, but does manage to get 2 citadels on the Ryuho, and then he manages to finish him off with the torpedoes, so 129,000 points of damage and 4 kills, and with that being the case, the Scharnhorst did manage to get back on the C-cap, but again, this replay is about over, and he's not going to be able to make an impact for the rest of the game, so with that being the case, we're going to go take a look at the post-battle results. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 129,000 credits received off of 4 torpedo hits, and it looks like about 180 shell hits. Managed to shoot down 1 plane, got 4 enemy ships sunk, 8 fires set, which is ridiculously good RNG, 3 citadels with the AP, 1 solo base cap, and 1 assisted base capture, along with devastating strike, Confederate, and double strike. So a nice plethora of medals right there. Taking a look at the team score, obviously tops on the team with the 4 kills. Definitely a game over 2,000 base XP. Not sure if it would have cracked the 3,000 mark, but it would have definitely been close. Probably, my guess, 2,800 base XP. That's a very nice result. The Bismarck finishing in 2nd place with 2 kills of his own, so very nice stuff right there. But yeah, the Iron Within, thank you very much for sending in the replay. I understand that you claim that you're not a very good destroyer player, but this was a really good result. And I'm not going to lie, this result that you had, taken at face value, was really, really good. There's nothing to be ashamed of with that. That's actually a very, very solid Loyang game. But I hope you understand that if you want to improve your game a lot more, situational awareness is so key. And to players out there that maybe are above, or not, excuse me, to players out there that are maybe average or below average, and they want to try to get to a level where they feel that they're, you know, going to have a good result every game, The biggest thing, man, is situational awareness. Get that mini-map as big as you can or as big as you're comfortable with and just look at it all the time. And also look around from time to time. I know it's really easy to get, sidetracked on what's going on, but look around. When you're in a destroyer, it is the most fast-paced play style that this game has, so you definitely need to be looking around and be a bit more aware. And it's something that'll serve you a lot better because if you don't have the resident situational awareness, chances are, at least in destroyer gameplay, you're probably going to be dying a lot earlier or at the beginning of the game. And I got to say, if that Chapai was paying attention, that game would have been over a lot quicker. But with that being the case, still a good result. Please feel free to keep sending more replays in. We'll be glad to feature you again at some point if you so desire. But yeah. So with that being the case, this is the Sneaky Snake for Brothers in Arms World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, or possibly subscribing to the channel. All of it is very much appreciated. And have a great day.